Right, well, good afternoon everybody. A tad cooler today than what it's been the last couple of days. Yesterday and I couldn't even think what day it is, Thursday. Yesterday and Tuesday were absolutely fantastic up here in the northeast, red hot. But unfortunately, my wife's been a little bit poorly over the last couple of days with constant cough, and that's so I've had to stay home, which I thought I would have had a couple of weeks ago when we first started off with this lockdown. I knew I was going to be more or less stuck inside for the duration. But if I can get this on the work properly, it'll be alright. But anyway, here I am. I'm going to do a quick video this week. I've been really busy inside. As I say, apart from going upstairs and keeping an eye on the missus, I've had loads of potting off to do. Now, I haven't had much time to spend on the allotment because of this situation that we're in. Roger just goes up one morning and I'll go up with tea time, do the allotment up, put the heater back on if need be. Because we've had a couple of really cold nights the last couple of weeks, frost and whatnot, so we've got to be careful with that. You can still get some really cold nights, so you just got to, as I say, you just got to be very careful, because you get one of these frosts and you can lose a lot of your plants within a few hours. So just go easy. I haven't even started planting out outside yet. Yeah, my idea was to get some carrots and some parsnips put in last weekend, but unfortunately, one thing after another, I had to put that on hold. But I'm going to make an attempt to do it this weekend. What I want to get started on, what I've done yesterday, I've done a few light zones of beetroot and turnips inside, but I'll show you them when we go up the plot. But for the time being, I'm just going to nip in here and I'll show you how we're getting on with the zones in here. Tomatoes, the cucumbers, and what we started off here a week, they're just romping away. Just a few days heat. No heat on in there. I mean, the door's wide open and it's 74 in there. 74 degrees in a cool day like today. Unbelievable how quick the heat can just jump up. But yeah, and of course we're spring bedding still romping away. I'm not starting to slide back down again. I'm determined to get myself a new tripod over the next couple of weeks. As I say, the spring bedding's been absolutely marvellous. Here we've had loads of the baskets and whatnot being in full flower. Absolutely marvellous, and it's amazing what you can do with just a few bulbs and of course some polyanthus. Polyanthus I'll probably be sowing the back end of this month, end of April, beginning of May, when I start the polyanthus off. And you've got a first class plant. I've got tradefuls of pansies, tradefuls of forget-me-nots, still loads of bella daisies lined up the garden, which I've got to make a start on this week and get them sorted out and just give them away to family and friends, so it clears the way for bringing the summer bedding out of the greenhouses and onto the benches. But we'll talk about that later on. For the time being, I'm going to pop inside the greenhouse and show you what we've been doing in there. Okay? Right, well, I hope that's a little bit better. It's as I say, the door's open in here and it's 74 degrees. I come down here first thing every morning, on about the 8 o'clock mark. Once the sun hits the top of this greenhouse, around about 9 o'clock, half 9, and the heat just goes straight to the roof. It warms up absolutely fantastic. But it's a bit cloudy today, very overcast, but it's humid, so you just got to watch your temperatures. I still like to use the plastic covers, especially in the evening. It's going to be frosty, and all I've got in here is a heat blanket, just a little heat blanket, and it's keeping the temperatures around about the 50 mark through the evening, which is spot on for me. I'm quite happy with that. I don't like it any warmer than that. If you remember, a fortnight ago we put the cues in, fortnight, and just under the plastic cover there, and already they're shooting through. Now they're just about the size that I like to start potting off. We've been going on and on and on for weeks about potting on and potting on and potting on. And you know how I like to do my potting on. I always like to wait until the plant gets a good, there's the sun getting out there now. I always like to wait until the plant gets a good root system on before I even attempt to pot them off. And that's, I've just potted these off yesterday. And these are giant orange tomato I've been keeping this year. and they were just potted off yesterday, the size of them, and they've got a really good root system on them. So my thinking, got a good root system, you plant them into the new fresh compost and they gallop away. They don't have any setbacks, and that's a sign, as I say, of a first class tomato plant. So I'm just got its first true leaves on. It's been grown correctly. Well, these ones here are the ones I potted up a fortnight ago, and of course these are the hellbilly, and these were only potted up a fortnight, and look at them, they're in the 9cm pots now, and they'll stop in here for at least another fortnight. Oh, you can't beat that up. I've had that since I was a young one, since I was 8-year-old. The smell of them tomatoes, first young tomato plants that you grow on beginning of the year, and that smell never leaves you. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it. But they're the hellbilly, and they're all arm over one with them. Now, as I showed you in the Turnip when I was taking the cabbage up, this is where these will be going. So ideally, if you see the water dripping from below, it's because they're sitting in the tray with water in. Another good point: if you're watering your plants, always water from down below. Put them in the tray, tip your water into the tray, and let your plant soak the water up. That way, you don't have any problems with dampening off, and especially with these fellas, cucumbers. So that's bone dry in the top, absolutely bone dry. Down below, it's nice and moist, and that's where the moisture is, down below, because these are prone to getting neck rot. So that's what you've got to be very careful of. All the cucumber family are the same: squashes, melons, anything like that. They're all prone to the same disease. You get too much water at the top, at the base of the plants, and you'll end up with neck rot, and it just kills them off. They'll just collapse over. So I always think to water from down below, put them in a tray, a bit of water in, a good sandy mixture is what I always say. Multi-purpose compost. This is my own mixture, by the way. When I do all my own potting off, it's all done by my own mixture, which is half of multi-purpose compost, and then I put 2 parts, 1 part my own compost served from the allotment, 1 part sand, good sharp sand, or perlite, and a couple of handfuls of bone meal, and that's my own pot mix. You can go back on some of my videos, and you'll get the recipe for that. But always use that. It's good sharp sand in it, and it's good free drain, and that means when you sit them in the tray with a bit of water in, they just soak the water up. It just acts like a sponge, and they get all the water they need. And I might sound a little bit croaky if you remember in the last video. I still had cold. I was taking us a good 10 days just to get over that. But I'm getting better. I'm plodding on. So as I say, I'm determined to make a start this week on the allotment, on the plot. Most of the stuff's just taken over. I'll go up every evening, do my watering, that needs to be done, lock up and come down. But this weekend, as I say, there's jobs that we've had to put on hold because me and Roger do jobs together, like the greenhouse shift and stuff like that. We can't, we've been in the lockdown. And if it gets any worse, which I think it may do, we could be in for a bit of a shock, because we've got all them plants up in the allotment, and if we can't get up to water them, and then it's game over for this year. But drastic times need drastic measures, and as I say, keep home, keep safe, and that's the main thing. The only time I go out now is just to nip up. I keep my distance from everybody, nip up the garden, lock up, check the heat if need be, and straight back down. Do any watering that needs to be done, straight back down home. That's it. Keep out the way of everybody. Chilies, peppers. Well, we've been putting chilies up for the last 3 days, 4 days, and there's the Toro Rosso. I grow them. The peppers grow them every year, and the first class. Couple of comments online the other day about people wanting chilies and peppers. Well, the ideal thing to them is to sow them early. You mightn't think that they're a very big plant, because it's only the beginning of April, and if I've got that plant ready for the 2nd week in May, which is 5 weeks away, I'm over the moon. And that it'll go into, once that's filled that pot, that'll go into a 9cm pot, the same as that, and I guarantee by the 2nd week in May it would have filled that pot with root. So they're perfect for planting out into a cold polytunnel, which is where they'll go. I might put them in pots, I don't know yet. I haven't organised the benches, because if you know, we've got benches right through the allotment, right through the main greenhouse, right through the polytunnels. We've got benches, so we can't add peppers, chilies, cucumbers, stuff like that to the benches, and save our groundwork for the main things like tomatoes, cucumbers, things like that. So I've still got a lot of planting to do, but no doubt over the next couple of weeks, as I say, the house comes first and the missus get her seen to first, make sure she's back on her feet, and then we'll start making a plan. I'll do a plan of all the benches that we've got, and I'll try and work out where everything's going to go in its position. Hopefully it'll be okay. I just brought these down last night. I popped it last night and I noticed these on one of the side trays. Now these are just out of the greenhouse, cold greenhouse, and these are the yellow pear tomato. Now they are absolutely fantastic, just the right size, and they've just been brought up cold, no heat whatsoever. So I brought them down here this morning for the simple reason I do most of my potting off down here. As I say, I'm down home, I'm near the missus, I'm keeping an eye on here. I can just pop down to the garden for a half an hour every now and again and just do a little bit of potting off. And what I do with these, pot them off, put them up my trolley, and then take them up to the plot of an evening when I go up the lock up. So that keeps me busy through the day. So I brought them down last night, as I say, that's the yellow pear ones, and they were just sprinkled in a cold greenhouse with just a plastic propagator over the top of them. So it just goes to show you, once you get a bit of sunshine up there, your temperatures are 60, 65 and 70, and that's in a cold greenhouse. So just be very careful, and that's why I always say to people, try not to sow too early, because you'll be surprised once you get a little bit of heat, they can romp away. So I'm going to start potting a few of them off, and then I'll take them up the pot. I'll show you them up the pot tonight when we get up there. As I say, I've got tomatoes in about 4 or 5 different stages, which is what I like. I don't have a glut of tomatoes for planting out. I like to spread them out over a course of about 3 or 4 weeks, so we can just take our time. Here's some that I potted off yesterday, and of course these are Sweet Million, little cherry tomato, and they've just been potted up. Well, they'll sit in here for another week before they go up to the cold greenhouse. But as I say, you just got to be very careful for these frosty nights, and that you don't give your plants a jolt with the frost. Right, okay, so we're fine down here, and so I'm going to pot these few tomatoes up. Take them up, plot the night, and what I'll do this afternoon, we'll go up there for a half an hour, and I'll show you what I've been doing with the beetroots. So a lot of people have started to sow the beetroots and turnips in containers. I've done it a couple of times throughout the year, a few years ago, but I haven't done it since. But I thought I'd make a little bit of sowing, but when you're sowing beetroots inside, just be very careful, because a lot of people don't realise, if you're not sowing the monogem varieties, the monogem or mono, they're one seed per head. When you get like say a bolt hardy and stuff like that, they're not mono, they're multi-cell. So if you're going to sow, 3 or 4 seeds to one module, one of them seeds holds about 3 or 4 in a cluster. So if you're going to sow 3 or 4 in them, you're going to times that by 4, so you've got at least 12, 16 seeds going into one of them little. Far too many. So just be very careful. If you're not sowing the mono varieties, if you're sowing the likes of bolt hardy, which are semi-clustered seed, just put 1 or 2 at the most in each compartment. Then you can thin them out. Some people just let them grow on, but if you've got 12 or 14 seeds growing in a little container like that, even when you put it in the ground, it's going to be far too much, and you're not going to get very much of a beetroot out of them. So just at the most, I would sow 1 or 2 per hole. So just be very careful with that. But I'll show you mine when we get up there. And in fact, I had a look last night, and the turnips are just starting to break the surface. So we'll pop up this afternoon. We'll have a look around the greenhouses. Potatoes are romping away, absolutely fantastic. They're massive. So we might be. I did post on my Facebook page last night that we might have to dig them up a little bit early, and we'll normally dig them up around about the end of May, the May Day bank holiday. But I think we might be bringing them forward a couple of weeks. If that's the case, then I want to sow me sweet corn next week. Once again, timing's everything. If I sow me sweet corn next week, and then I've got some nice strong little plants ready for the end of May to plant out into the polytunnel for where the turkeys come out. It's all about planning, and get your plan right, get your crops right, and you should be spot on. But that's it for the time being. We'll pot out the plot this afternoon, and I'll get this video online tonight with a bit of luck. Okay, so I'll see you up there. Right, well, good afternoon everybody. Once again, welcome back to the plot. I'm going to do a quick run around of the polytunnels. It's absolutely cooking up here. The sun's just come out. I've just turned lunchtime here in the northeast, and I've just managed to get up the plot for an hour just to see how things have taken over. I don't like watering in the sunshine, but unfortunately I'm only up here for a half an hour. I'm due to come back up at night just to lock up, but what I want to do is to put a little bit of water on the trays. That's one advantage of me when I water on the trays, is my bedding. Even though it's dry on top, I can water the trays down below, and it means there's no water getting the top of the plants where you can get sun scald. But no, they're fine. I'm going to give the trays a good soaking. I've already done the leeks and the onions. The peach tree is absolutely romping away. I'm going to throw a bucket full of water on that tonight. It's got a lot of side juice starting to come off it, so no doubt I'll have to have a look at that and start cutting back some of them. Ideally, we've had some loads of blossom on there, so I want to maximise the crop to see if I can get some nice peaches off here this year. But as I explained on the Facebook page once again, I posted the other night that I'd be planting my sweetcorn this week. Well, this is our first early crop, and these are jazzy, and I'm not disappointed whatsoever. We grew jazzy last year outside in one of the beds in the main crop beds on the plot itself, and they were absolutely fantastic. Lovely potato. So I thought, well, there are early potatoes, so I might as well try them inside the tunnel. And of course, they haven't disappointed. We've got 3 fantastic rows here. Now, what I will do tonight, as I mentioned, we have got weekly hoses on, as you can see down here. And what I'll do tonight, I'll come back up about 6 o'clock. Hopefully by then there'll be nobody in the plot. And what I'll do is I'll turn the weekly hoses on, and they can just run all night long until Roger comes up tomorrow morning and switches them off. But I've had to come up and put a bit of feed on the leeks. Well, normally I don't bother feeding these, the show leeks, but they're not too bad. They're not going to be doing anything this year. They're not going to be showing anything. These are just for stock, that's all. So what I'm doing, I'm just holding them back in here for the time being in the tunnel, and I'll probably put them in the cold polytunnel next week, where there's plenty of fresh air. The nets are up, the doors are open, and they'll just sit in there until the first week in May. We don't like to start planting anything out here until at least the first week in May, because we're so prone to getting frosts and whatnot. Loads of bedding over there, petunias. There's Rebecca. There's loads of lettuce. I've just put a couple of trays of lettuce in the bottom greenhouse. So now these I'm going to have to do a bit of work on this week. As you can see there, these are the new grapevines I planted last year. These are the black ones, and I'm going to have to nip this top off. And what I'll probably do, I'll go back to a full shoot. That's that one there. I'll go back to that one there, and I'll cut them from there, and then I'll train that shoot up and over and along the top towards the top of the tunnel. And it's the same with that one there. I think I already cropped that one last year. It's got some nice new runners on the top. Right, I'll just stop this video for the time being. Well, we'll never get away from from the phones. I've always got to carry my mobile. Unfortunately, with them, has been a bit poorly. Now, this is one of the jobs I did last week. And of course, I mentioned it in my Facebook page a couple of weeks ago. Was to try using the small pots, cardboard pots. These are great. I used them a few years ago to some extent. I got quite a good crop out of them, but I've never used them since. So I thought this year I'll give it a go. I've seen lots of people trying to sow in multi-trays and whatnot there, but you just got to be very careful with the seed. But I'll explain all that next door when we're going to have a look at the ones I've already been sown. These square ones I use them for the beetroots, and the round ones I use for turnips. Quite easy. You can see the seed as it come through. You don't mistake turnips from beetroots. But just be careful of what you're sowing. As I say, you can overdo it in these modules. But yeah, I'm well pleased with the way the first tunnel's shaping up. Yeah, we'll pop in next door and we'll have a look. And as I say, Roger comes the first thing, opens these doors up. The doors are wide open there because it's absolutely cooking in here. The tomatoes as well. The tomatoes are just romping away. We've got trayfuls of them in the melon house, which I'm over them with. Now these have got to be shifted next week up onto the top, the dahlias. These are the bedding dahlias, and of course these will sit in these trays for another fortnight yet, until they're nice and big, and then till the roots start pushing through the bottom, and then that's when I like to pop mine off. It's quite an easy job just to keep going through them if you use a compost like I do. Just getting all your weeds from the seeds. You can see the bits of grass growing up there amongst it, because this is my own potting mix. I like to use this for big seeds, like say the dahlia, and it's quite an easy job just to go through and keep pulling the bits of weed out, bits of nettle, bits of grass, anything that's growing, and they're growing fantastic. And I say they'll make a great plant in about a fortnight's time. I'll put them up into single pots, and they'll be romping away, and they'll be ready for the middle of May. As I say, timing's everything. Get your timing right. Don't plant too early. Get your timing right, and you'll be fine with your crops. As I say, up here in the northeast, we don't start planting anything out till around about the middle to the end of May up here, because we can still get caught out with frosts. Here's a couple of trayfuls of large onions. These are the Spanish onions that I sowed in February down home, and I've just pricked them off last week, and already they're fantastic, lovely little plants. Now they'll be planted out. They'll be planted out in the first week in May, just in the garden. They'll sit here for another 3 weeks. You can feed onto these. All it is a plastic bag and a bread tray, and hoppers and newspapers to make a nice blanket, and it just acts like blotting paper. You can see the roots coming through there now. Absolutely fantastic. All you have to do is tip the water or the feed into there, and they get well fed. There's some lovely ones growing up there. There's a nice big one there. Over the moon with them, well pleased. Busy lizzies, trayfuls of them. Geraniums, they're all done. I've got some begonias coming through the combs. Fuchsias, that's the grapevine cuttings, and they're growing really well. As you can see, they've got some lovely little buds on them. Nice young plants. You'll be getting potted off in about 3 weeks' time, end of May, into final pots. I can cut them back if need be. As I say, they've budded there into the second bud there. I like to leave 2 buds up on the height. There's 3 in that one, and I can cut that down to there if need be. And them look like they're budding and all, so I'm over the moon with them. Going really well. Right, tomatoes. Well, these have only been potted off a fortnight to Corfu, and already they're just about filling that 9cm pots. So as I say, never be in a hurry for tomatoes. Well, these are the ones I potted off last week. There's a chocker, as I've seen in the last video, and they're romping away now. These are the big giant yellow that I got off Rod Halliwell 2 years ago, and they're fantastic. Lovely little plants, and they smell absolutely beautiful. I'm over the moon with them. So yeah, well pleased with them. They come on really well. The dahlias, well, I've got a couple of dahlias in here. I'm going to have to show you them. I'm going to try and take cuttings off them next week. I've just been that busy for the last couple of weeks. Everything's sort of taking a back step here in the garden. But I'm not in any hurry. I'm going to get started next week if the wife picks herself up, and we'll get started planting out again. Chilies and peppers along here, absolutely hundreds of them. And that 2 trayfuls of tomatoes. Now they've only been in a fortnight, and they were sown cold just a fortnight ago. Cold greenhouse, and they're up there now. They'll be getting potted off in about a fortnight's time, towards the end of April, and it'll be perfect for the end of May for planting out in cold greenhouses. Like I say, I'm never in a hurry to plant the pot of tomatoes. I just take my time. The pot leeks, if I can reach up there again. If you remember, almost sowed them in February. I'll take one of them down. Absolutely marvellous. And as you can see, there's just the odd bit of weed. Just the odd bit of weed in them. This is my own compost once again. So all you've got to do is just pull the weed out. It's an easy enough job to do. Just go along through the pots and just pull the bits of weed out. But that's my own compost, and again, that's why I like to use a nice big pot for them, because they'll sit in there till the second week in May, and they're absolutely romping away. Well pleased with them, the pot leeks. Right, so for the time being, we'll get out of here, and we'll go down to the bottom polytunnel, and I'll show you what we're doing with the beetroot. Okay, right, so here one, then we'll have bottom polytunnel. A little bit cooler in here, which is what I like. So we've got the nets around the side here, so there's plenty of fresh air blowing through. Now what I did do, as I say, I made a quick sowing. I've only been sowing a week these, and of course these are the farm turnips I was on about, and they're lovely and wet, because in the bottom of these multi-trays, what I've done in these containers here, I've put about 4 newspapers in the bottom. I put me multi-trays on top of these, and as you can see, there's a couple of seeds just popping through there. Over the moon with that. Now I like to let them go for a week or two, and then I can just pull out the weakest one and let the rest grow. Freaking marvellous. So easy to do. It's a nice full tray in there. 2 or 3 in each module, that's all you want. And as they grow, you can pull out what you want and the ones that you don't need, and leave one single one into there. Well, these are the ones that I've done also, the beetroots. No, the square ones. Now if I look, there's one just starting to pop through there. Now these have only been planted a fortnight, and of course they're in the bottom polytunnel, and it's quite warm in here. As I say, there's plenty of fresh air blowing through, but still plenty of shelter, and the first of the beetroots is just starting to pop through there. Now that's well soaked, that's how I like them. I don't like to let these cardboard boxes, these cardboard containers dry out whatsoever. That's why I like plenty of newspaper on the bottom, and I just come along with a watering can, stick a load of water in there, they'll soak it up, and it keeps them nice and moist, and of course it keeps your compost nice and moist. But as I had mentioned on the Facebook page, just be careful when you're sowing. And what I like to do with the square ones, I just put 2 seed per pot, especially when you're sowing the likes of Detroit. They're not a multi-jet, they're not a single cell variety, they're multi. So if you sow one of them, you'll get 3 or 4 seeds in one cluster. So if you're going to sow 3 or 4 to a pot, you know, you're looking at 14, 16 seeds per pot going to be grown. So I just place 2 in there, and then I can pick out the weakest as they grow. Now there's a different variety, the long root, the stump root, which I never grow in these ones, for a simple reason. You don't want to hinder these ones to start growing. These will go outside in the main beds in the main garden. I'll be probably planting them out at the end of this week. And these are the Ferrano, and these are the long beet, as I say. These are the only ones that go in the garden. The only ones I like to sow inside are the round ones, which will grow on top of the pots. And of course, you'll not hinder the growth by placing them in pots, and you can just plant them out in the garden when they're a decent size. But apart from that, beetroot's easy to grow. Better still if you've got a bit of seaweed to put in where you're going to plant them out, because originally they were a show plant years ago, before mankind started dabbling with them. But they love the seaweed, and then of course if you can't get fresh stuff like what we can, a bit of calcified seaweed spread along the rows, and it'll give you a first class crop of beetroots. But that's my tip for beetroots: just don't sow Ferrano, the stump root, into multi-cell trays, and don't overdo the sowing of them, because you're only going to waste them. As I say, in a cell like that, you'll probably get 3 or 4 in one cluster, 1 seed. And if you're going to sow the multi, then just make sure you only put 1 or 2 in per cell. By the time the sprout, if you've got 5 or 6 sprouts coming off the one, you can quite easy, and they're a big enough seed, you know, so they're easy enough to sow. But as I say, they're multi-cells, little clusters of seedlings, and you'll get quite a few growing in them. But they're growing away okay for the time being. As I say, it's only early April yet, and of course we've got this blessed sunshine for all this weekend, all Easter weekend. But as I say, just stay safe, stay indoors, and keep everybody else safe. Don't spread it around. I'll be up here, but as I say, I'll not be mixing with anybody. We'll just be keeping our gates shut and getting on with little bits and pieces. Okay. Well, one more job to do before I knock off. I'm going to start on sowing some sweetcorn. Okay. Right. One last thing to show you. If I can lift this thing down before we go. Remember the cabbages that were sowed a couple of weeks ago? Well, there we are. I potted them up only a week ago. These are the cabbage Duncan. Already fantastic little plants, and they'll sit there for at least another 3 weeks yet till I get them pots really filled. When we're going to the other greenhouse, I'll show you the ones that have been potting up but they're absolutely marvellous. As I say, everything else is growing away really strong. Well, the strawberries, they're romping away, well pleased with that. And of course we've been getting some first class cabbages. Look at the size of them hearts, absolutely marvellous, beautiful cabbages them, all of them warm them. So this is one of the beds that we're going to have to tackle first. That's why I'm not in any hurry to get the tomatoes up to full size, because this is where the tomatoes will go. Once these cabbages are cleared by the end of this month, the tomatoes will have filled the 9cm pots, and they'll be just perfect for planting out in here into 3 rows. And that's the whole idea of timing your plants so you've got somewhere to put them when they're ready. Okay? Okay, well, now into the 100-foot greenhouse, and of course, as ever, starting to fill up fast. If you remember last week, we were on about the sprout. Well, there we are. And of course, once again, I keep saying, once you know you use from the seeds, it's easy enough to go through the pots and pick out the grass and the weeds that's going to grow in amongst them. Because this is always my old pot compost in these pots, and already the sprout maximus is standing up there. Just a cool greenhouse, no heat whatsoever in here. They're just up on the benches, and of course up on here when they've got full light. And just by looking at some of these travelers of lettuce there, now they're ready for planting out now. These are the little gem lettuce. They were only planted 3 weeks ago in into a cold greenhouse, and absolutely marvellous. Once again, they're on trays on newspaper, which keeps them nice and moist. All I've got to do is water the trays, and they're fantastic. And of course, remember the multi-sown cabbages that we did last week, romping away. Well pleased with them. And the only thing I've got left to do today is the same potatoes. No, the potatoes, the jazzy, they're going to be coming out in about 3 weeks' time. Looking towards the first, second week in May now. Normally we'll leave it until the back end of May. But by the look of them, I think I'll be able to get them out a little bit early. So it means I can start planting my sweet corn now. As a rule, I like to wait until about the 3rd week in May before I start planting my sweet corn. 3rd week in April, and that leaves us 5 weeks to the end of May for getting a nice big plant. Once the potatoes out, and then the sweet corn goes in. But if we're going to be a little bit early on the potatoes, then I might as well get started on the sweet corn. Now, I like to use these little multi-cell trays, just the small pots, and I think these are fantastic just to get your sweet corn started. You can either use them, I like to use the multi-trays, anything like that will do. And of course I've got 2 varieties of sweet corn, one which I'm going to plant outside, which of course is incredible, and they're a lovely big tasting one. And I've got the F1, the sweet corn Swift, which are the really early one. I might grow them on and put the earlies outside, because it does tend to be a little bit cooler here in the northeast. So they're an early variety, so I might have to put them outside and keep the incredible for the inside. I'll work it out anyway before we get started. And with these, with a multi-cell tray, easy enough job just to push your finger in, make a little indentation in the compost. Once again, this is my own compost, multi-purpose compost, so mixed with the compost from the bins, sharp sand, bone meal, and that's all they need. I don't bother with any fancy compost for these. I like to always make my own up. And there we have it. They're the sweet corn, a nice big size, easy enough to get a hold of. Now I like to soak in these pots, pre-soak them, give them a really good soak first, let them drain down, and then just pop one seed, per planting hole, push them in, and that way there's no chance of them getting waterlogged and rotting off. There we are, one seed. I can do the rest later on. I've still got quite a few to sow there, but as I say, I've done them first 2, 4, 6, 8, I've done them first 10. Yeah, let that bit of water drip off there, bit of muddy water, and they're fine. Put them over a little bit of compost, and they'll just sit in the cold, up on the top shelf here, where I've got a few onions, so they'll sit up there. What I might do is to get into that bread tray, put some newspaper in the bread tray with a bit of polythene, and set them on that. Once again, all I have to do is just tip a bit of water into the bread tray, underneath, so that they're always getting water from underneath, because these can be prone to rotting off, so be careful with your water with a sweet corn. Once they're through, they're no problem. Once they break surface, at the start. You start and get a bit of root and then water them by all means. But my rule of thumb is always water from underneath if you're on a first class plant. So that's my sweet corn done. I'm over the moon with that. I've got this tray to finish off. I'm going to get that done and then get myself way back down home. I've been up here long enough. I've watered most of the plants. I was going to lock up now, but it's a bit too hot, that sunshine. I'm going to leave the doors open. I'll come back about 6 o'clock tonight and get locked up there. But yeah, another video for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I say, lots of new subscribers coming online. Quite a few over the last week. I'm well pleased with that. I hope you're enjoying this, what we like to do on the plot, and we'll take you through it week by week. As I say, it's been challenging times this last couple of weeks. There's loads of work that we really want to get done, but we can't at the moment. You know, we're restricted to our movements, to the amount of time we can spend up here. So with what time I have got up here, I want to make the most of it. So getting stuck in, get this potting off done. Once it's all grown, maybe in a couple of weeks' time, they might ease down a bit. So by then, it'll all be nicely grown and time to plant out. So we've got lots to show you throughout the year. As I say, thanks to all the new subscribers. Don't forget to comment down below if you're enjoying it. Send your comments and we'll get back to you. As I say, if you cannot wait for the videos, we've been trying to get a couple of videos out, one each week, but as I say, the last couple of weeks it's a bit hitty missy, but we'll get this one online and we'll see how we'll go next week. We've got loads to do and loads to show you, but as I say, with the restrictions at the moment, it's getting a little bit difficult. But no doubt we'll all get caught up, so just don't panic yet. Just keep planting slowly, steadily, and hopefully it'll all come good by the middle of next month. That's what we're hoping for anyway. But for the time being, I'm going to knock off, get myself down home. I'll get back up here tonight, lock everything up when it cools down a bit, and hopefully I'll see you all again soon in the plot. Week's time, if everything goes okay, we'll get back to normal. Okay, so watch what you're doing and enjoy yourself.